What did Jasmine Crockett say this time? It's the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Yeah, let's go. I guess you can tell that we're going to start with what the heck did Jasmine Crockett say this time. But just let me put a little front in there. We get these little audio gold nuggets just over and over and over from just a handful of people. And I just really want to thank them for their contribution. Because they could have done what Kamala Harris did and Joe Biden did. Just don't do any public interviews. Just don't get off script. Just don't sit across the desk from someone on a network news show and field unscripted, unexpected questions. God bless them for getting out there and doing that.
Jasmine Crockett, queen of the liberal tea.
Bleach blonde, bad built butch body. Governor Hot Wheels. And he is a hot ass mess, honey.
Queen of the liberal tea.
Today she said the GOP has been taking money from Jeffrey Epstein.
Who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly. Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio.
Those are all names from like 2011 or something, but she's not wrong. Those people that she listed have taken donations from Jeffrey Epstein. But she did say somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, maybe not the Jeffrey Epstein. In fact, it's not the Jeffrey Epstein. But you can just go online and you can look up donation records and you can look for Jeffrey Epstein. And if it pops up, you pass that along to Jasmine and she'll say it. Anyway, it turns out it's not that guy. In fact, some of the donations that they were pointing to were made after the Jeffrey Epstein died. I think most of them were from this ophthalmologist in Denver or something. God bless CNN for actually calling her on it.
You mentioned Lee Zeldin there. He's now a cabinet secretary. He responded and said it was actually Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who's a doctor that doesn't have any relation to the convicted sex trafficker. Unfortunate for that doctor, but that is who donated to a prior campaign of his. Do you want to correct the record on the people that
Listen, I never said that it was that Jeffrey Epstein, just so that people understand when you make a donation, your picture is not there. And because they decided to spring this on us in real time, I wanted the Republicans to think about what could potentially happen because I knew that they didn't even try to go through the FEC. So my team, what they did is they Googled, and that is specifically why I said a Jeffrey Epstein. Unlike Republicans, I at least don't go out and just tell lies. Because it was not the same one, that's fine. But when Lee Zeldin had something to say, all he had to say was it was a different Jeffrey Epstein. He admitted that he did receive donations from a Jeffrey Epstein, so at least I wasn't trying to mislead people. No. Now, have I dug in to find out who this doctor is? I have not. So I will trust and take what he says is that it wasn't that Jeffrey Epstein, but I was not attempting to mislead anybody. I literally had maybe 20 minutes before I had to do that debate.
Yeah, but people might see that and say, well, you're trying to make it sound like he took money from
I did not know.
A registered sex offender.
No, but I literally did not know. When you search FEC files, and that's what I had my team to do, I texted them and I said, listen, we're going up. They are saying that she took donations.
Right, but someone might say, well, your team should have done the homework to make sure it wasn't the convicted sex trafficker.
Within 20 minutes, you could not find that out, not from just doing a quick search on FEC. So, number one, I made sure that I was clear that it was a Jeffrey Epstein, but I never said that it was specifically that Jeffrey Epstein because I knew that we would need more time to really dig in.
Oh, isn't that fantastic? The gift that keeps on giving. Now, credit to the network news again, or I should say the cable news networks again, because they drugged Stacey Plaskett out on the news desk. And if you don't remember her storyline, she was the one that was taking text messages from Jeffrey Epstein. And then he was directing her during a congressional hearing where she was interrogating Michael Cohen, Trump's former lawyer. So she was asked to explain that to Wolf Blitzer.
What was your relationship with Epstein?
So Jeffrey Epstein was a constituent. He was a resident of the Virgin Islands, lived there, I guess, more than half of the year because he was registered there. I had received donations from him after the last investigation came out, which was after this texting. I gave any donations that I had previously received from him to women's organizations and did not have any contact with him. But like many constituents, individuals get your phone number, they text you about issues, they speak with you. I have spoken with him about issues that are relevant, things that are going on in the Virgin Islands and elsewhere around the country.
And then she's asked, why did you even initiate text with him? Now, remember, this hearing is in 2019. This is after he's already been arrested and jailed in Florida, and like in 2006. He's already done some time. There's already been a big write-up in the Miami Herald about this guy. It's public knowledge. Why? And she's initiating text with him. Why?
Right, but on that day that we're talking about, you initiated the text exchange at 7:55 in the morning. So why were you even texting with Epstein at the time? He was a known sex offender then.
Sure. I explain to people, I've been a prosecutor for many years. And there are a lot of people who have information that are not your friends that you use to get information to get at the truth.
Yeah, I was just using him for information. That's the ticket. But remember that question. Why did you initiate the text? She did. We have the timestamps on it. We know. Jasmine Crockett was asked about it because these two are buddies. They were, in fact, Stacey Plaskett was sitting next to Jasmine Crockett when she lied about Republicans getting money from Jeffrey Epstein. But real quick, here's her defense of Plaskett.
Take her off of her committee because he decided to text her. Stacey didn't initiate that chain. Jeffrey initiated that chain, and she took the information. Just like if somebody texts me.
Yeah, but she was responding and saying, what are you talking about? Quick, I'm up next. And then her questions were about Rona. But
She said Epstein initiated it. And here's evidence contrary. Again, CNN, go.
Right, but on that day that we're talking about, you initiated the text exchange at 7:55 in the morning.
See, they're just lying all over the place. One more. I got to give Steven Crowder credit. He's a Dallas space guy, so he might hear this anyway. But he put the 2 and 2 together. Stacey Plaskett was next to Jasmine Crockett when she lied about GOP taking Epstein money.
Here's the irony. Stacey Plaskett, who's sitting next to her in that video, she took campaign donations directly from the actual Epstein in 2016.
Well, she wasn't on the list.
And she was also caught texting Epstein for direction advice during the 2019 Michael Cohen hearing. What? So that person right there has more of a connection than someone who had a doctor named Jeffrey Epstein donate to his campaign. And by the way, I would imagine that is amongst the most common doctor names.
There you go. Coming up next, Dr. Bo Caballo, poli-sci at Tarleton State University. We'll ask him about the Epstein situation, redistricting, 10 Commandments, Muslim Brotherhood terrorists. A lot to talk about on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins, who they were having a blast with that Jasmine Crockett audio I was playing in the last segment. If you go back and check out the podcast from their first hour, they had a hoot with it. My guest now, Dr. Bo Kabbalah, is back on from Tarleton State University. And let's look at Texas first here. Governor Abbott declared Muslim Brotherhood and CARE to be terrorist organizations a couple days ago, and then he added a little bit to the fire. He announced some investigations, and then he said on Hannity last night, and I hate to just jump so fast, we just have a lot to cover today. He said on Hannity that there are Sharia courts in Dallas.
Are there really Sharia courts in the great state of Texas? God bless Texas. Is that real?
Sean, it is real. We know of at least two that exist in the Dallas area. We're looking broader in Dallas County as well as Collin County, which is right next to Dallas. And that's why I sent the letter to officials both in Dallas and Collin counties to urge them to take action to root out any Sharia courts. And I am deploying the Texas Department of Public Safety to also root out any Sharia courts anywhere in the state of Texas. To be clear, the Texas Constitution does not allow Sharia courts or Sharia law. Texas statutes have banned Sharia law, and we are going to pursue this until we purge any attempt to impose Sharia law in Texas.
Dr. Bo, that was all news to me. I had no idea we had Sharia courts. So, where does the law draw the line between people adjudicating their disputes in whatever way they see fit and a Sharia court? All right, let's jump out to national politics here. And it's not even really politics. Well, I don't even what you would classify the Epstein list as. But, it has this political path to go through. It got through the House. It got through the Senate. Now, I understand that they can't just flat out release everything without some kind of redactions in there. Because, part of it has, child pornography if the reporting is correct. So the skepticism comes, is it going to be so redacted it's worthless? We're talking with Dr. Bo Kabbalah from Tarleton State University, and you sound like it's going to come out, but what's your timetable on that? Yeah. Well, I thought you would have said years because there's all kinds of hurdles they can come up with in the meantime. Like it's part of an active investigation or some garbage like that. All right. Well, I appreciate the optimism there. Another court case that we're interested in Texas is the redistricting court case. Now, I know it's not done already. There was some harsh criticism of the judge itself, but are we going to get our maps before the midterms or not? Dr. Bo Kabbalah, Tarleton State University, thank you for your time, sir. Coming up next, you're going to hear more of that interview with Governor Greg Abbott on Sean Hannity last night, where he says there's Sharia courts in Dallas. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. So do we have Sharia courts in Dallas? That's what your governor said. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. This is a storyline that's been building all week. Let's go back a couple days to catch up the new people here. Governor Abbott said that the Muslim Brotherhood and Council on American Islamic Relations are now terrorist organizations, or how's he put that?
Two Muslim civil rights groups are pushing back tonight after Governor Abbott labeled them foreign terrorist organizations.
There it is, foreign terrorist organizations. That's the report from WFAA.
The governor accused the Muslim Brotherhood and the Council on American Islamic Relations, otherwise known as CARE, of supporting global terrorism and twisting state law through intimidation and violence, a designation that bars both groups from owning land in Texas. Tonight, CARE says it won't be deterred, calling his claims defamatory and lawless.
Okay, and then we had a conversation about that earlier this week. This was a voicemail from Jonathan, a listener.
Man, I just saw Governor Abbott declared Muslim Brotherhood a foreign terrorist organization or whatever. I'm going off memory, just read it. Which means, like, out in Josephine where I live, I'm wondering if that means that they're not going to be able to do that Epic City after all. Because I'll tell you this much, like, when I go to the Walmart out there in, like, Wiley, I mean, there's so many, like, ladies in full burqa where, and again, whatever, like, to each their own. But, I mean, there's a lot of Muslims out there. And, again, not a big deal except for the fact that they don't seem to really like Western civilization all that much.
Well, and the problem comes if they set up their own court system. And if you're skirting the laws of our country with your own religious courts, that's something that not only is just inherently flawed, but specifically written into the Texas statute and Constitution. So Governor Greg Abbott, I was going to talk about this anyway. And then Governor Greg Abbott went on Hannity last night. 3 clips that you got to hear. First off, he just talks about and setting up the topic of hand of Muslim Brotherhood getting investigated now.
Well, first, with regard to CARE and the Muslim Brotherhood, we all know that the Muslim Brotherhood has been involved in terror across the world. And as you listed on your show already, you pointed out 2 of many examples about how CARE and its affiliates are tied to both Hamas as well as to terrorism. And in fact, one of the founders of the Texas branch of CARE was sent to prison for 65 years for financing terrorism. The fact of the matter is there are people associated with CARE who pose a serious danger, and that's exactly why I designate them as a foreign terrorist organization that, among other things, prohibits them from either owning or buying property in the state of Texas.
All right, now you're all caught up on the storyline. Here's where you might crash your car. Did you know that there's Sharia courts in Dallas? I did not. I had no information at this level until last night. Governor Greg Abbott to Sean Hannity. He's saying there's a couple and one in Colin County. Check this out.
Are there really Sharia courts in the great state of Texas? God bless Texas. Is that real?
Sean, it is real. We know of at least 2 that exist in the Dallas area. We're looking broader in Dallas County as well as Collin County, which is right next to Dallas. And that's why I sent the letter to officials both in Dallas and Collin counties to urge them to take action to root out any Sharia courts. And I am deploying the Texas Department of Public Safety to also root out any Sharia courts anywhere in the state of Texas. To be clear, the Texas Constitution does not allow Sharia courts or Sharia law. Texas statutes have banned Sharia law, and we are going to pursue this until we purge any attempt to impose Sharia law in Texas.
Tell me where the Sharia courts are. Does someone out there know? Can y'all let me know where the Sharia courts are? Maybe we'll send Garrett over there with the microphone. He can get some man on the street audio. One more clip from Governor Greg Abbott on Hannity last night. Just a quick comment about this redistricting situation. The judge that slapped it down, he had some strong criticism for the fellow.
Let me ask you the last question. The court decision on the issue of congressional district in your state, I do believe you'll win on appeal, but this is kind of par for the course lately, isn't it?
Well, it is par for the course. Also par for the course for the judge who issued the opinion. The judge who issued the opinion was overturned by a Fifth Circuit en banc court last year for his most recent decision in redistricting, and he got it wrong then. He got this one wrong now. And look at the senior judge who presided over this matter in this redistricting case, a three-judge panel. The senior judge took that judge to task, the judge who wrote the opinion, and eviscerated him in more than a 100-page opinion. I've never seen language so harsh by one federal judge against another federal judge, and I feel confident the United States Supreme Court is going to agree with that senior judge from the Fifth Circuit that this decision was a gross misjudgment.
Wow. All right. I'm going to look into those Sharia courts, report back to you on future episodes of The James Show, so keep listening. Coming up next, Elon Musk says AI is going to make us all very comfortable and wealthy. Some people are scared about AI. I think I agree more with Elon. We'll talk about it next on The James Show. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I think AI is going to make us all comfortable and wealthy and happier than we otherwise would be. It's not going to be perfect, but it's the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. And this discussion comes on the heels. Elon Musk was at the summit with the Saudis, and I believe Trump was there for a little bit. And he made this one comment that started a discussion.
But AI and humanoid robots will actually eliminate poverty. And Tesla won't be the only one that makes them. I think Tesla will pioneer this, but there will be many other companies that make humanoid robots. But there is only basically one way to make everyone wealthy, and that is AI and robotics.
Oh, I like the sound of that. Now, for some people, that sounds like fantasy. They say, well, AI is going to replace all of our jobs, and we're just going to leave a whole bunch of people unemployed. Let's ask my next guest, John Risby, the patent professor, coming back on the James Show. John, what do you think? AI makes this better or worse? Man, John, you use much better examples. I when we talk about this on previous shows, I talk about the people that used to pick your crops. You know, the people that used to have to go bend over by hand, pull carrots out of the ground, and now we have a machine that can pull out like 5,000 carrots a minute, and so that made carrots amazingly cheap for the rest of us. And with that disposable income, we were able to put it to other economic uses. But no, your examples were far more specific. I like the elevator operator one. And I think our problem here is you can't see where they go. You can't point, well, this is what they're going to do, or this is how you can't explain to someone that they're going to be better off. I don't know what they're going to be doing. They'll be doing one of a million different things, but generally speaking, they'll be better off. All right, this has been my guest, John Risby, the patent professor. You can find him at thepatentprofessor.com. Thanks for your AI chat, sir. All right, please support the 38th annual Cumulus Kids Toy Drive presented by Dan Harker and Empower Home Team. For the children of 2 Dallas-Fort Worth schools, there is no Christmas without you. These children are coming from homes where putting food on the table is a struggle. They may not even have a home, living at shelters or with family members. These are the children that need you this Christmas. Your donation will help us provide a toy for every child at Martin Luther King Jr. Arts Academy in Dallas and Charles Nash Elementary in Fort Worth. How you can help? Go visit any Sam Pack Auto Group location, drop off a new unwrapped toy for those in needs, or you can also text KIDS, KIDS, to 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Of course, you can also find more info at our website, WBAP.com. All right, now I want to have a discussion with you next. If you send me an email, that's fine, or a Facebook message, that's fine. However, you just want to float it over the break here. Do you have any reservations about AI being launched into the workplace? Are you worried about your job? Are you worried about, I don't know, self-driving diesels? Are you worried about robots taking over? Are you worried about us all getting plugged into the matrix and having to blot out the sun? 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. And coming up next, I'll give you a little more depth on what I think our new overlap future looks like with AI involved. Also, Leonard Skinner's coming to Dos Equis Pavilion August 28th. Tickets information, livenation.com, and they're giving away tickets on the WBAP morning show tomorrow as well. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, fellow Texans. Welcome back to the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker, and I want to flesh out this discussion on AI and robots because AI can do a whole lot of our mental economy, and robots are going to do a whole lot of our physical economy. And these two technologies are coming online at the same time, and of course, they're going to be combined. And in the meantime, it's going to be a weird transition. It was a weird transition when we went from horses to cars. In fact, it was kind of unimaginable. How would we get rid of horses? Why would we get rid of horses? Do you mean to tell me through 10,000 years of recorded human history, using horses as our primary source of transportation is now just suddenly going to change? It's huge. It's huge what is happening. The difference in just the next couple of generations' lifestyle compared to what our grandparents had, they're not even going to be able to recognize each other. But a lot of this is coming to the forefront because there's a whole bunch of points on this star that are sort of coming together. And I see way too much negativity about robots and AI. They're going to take our jobs. Stop. Here's Elon Musk this week.
But AI and humanoid robots will actually eliminate poverty. And Tesla won't be the only one that makes them. I think Tesla will pioneer this, but there will be many other companies that make humanoid robots. But there is only basically one way to make everyone wealthy, and that is AI and robotics.
So the scary part is for the people whose job is going to be replaced because they can't see what they're going to do next. But when this country was founded, 98% of its citizens were involved in agriculture. Why? Because that's how many it took to feed us, right? And once we got more productive in that, and it didn't take so many people to feed us, that actually freed these people up to invent other industries and things that we didn't even think about before that. And it's got to the point now to where, all the people that used to take care of horses, some of them transitioned into being mechanics or putting together cars. And so they've sort of followed the transportation assistance route, but a lot of these people have been freed up to go do other things. And for every time that an innovation like this happens, for every time it becomes cheaper to pick carrots, that means for everyone buying carrots, they're going to have a little bit more disposable income, and they're going to be able to buy luxuries or advancements that they were previously unavailable. Whole new markets are going to spring up. So you go through the agricultural revolution, you go through the industrial revolution, you go through the information revolution. Now we're going through the space revolution, AI revolution, robotics revolution. We're already to the point now to where the average person among us has a $70 luxury high-tech pillow. You understand how amazing that would sound to your great-grandfather? We have this guy, Mike Lindell. He made millions and millions of dollars selling high-tech luxury pillows. Oh, were they really cheap? Actually, no, they're the most expensive pillow I think I've ever bought. But it's a damn nice pillow. I sleep on it better than regular pillow. It's fantastic. This is not the technology and the luxury that is afforded only to kings and queens. This is, you know how many My Pillows that dude has sold? We have luxury pillows. You ungrateful punks. And I'm tired of hearing, you may have said this yourself. I hope you haven't. And let me change your mind if you have. I'm tired of hearing this is going to be the first generation that doesn't do better than its parents. Stop it. You're going to do better. Look, I have kids. My kids are already going to do better than me. You know why? Because when I was growing up, we had 4 channels. You understand what kind of caveman, savage existence we had growing up? I grew up, cell phones got big when I was in high school. And I didn't really get one until I was about 24 because I was at the bottom end of the socioeconomic ladder. But my kids have cell phones growing up. And it's not just that they can call. It's that they can ask that thing anything you want. Remember when we were kids, we used to get into fights over someone said, Tom Petty's from Georgia. No, Tom Petty's from Florida. You take that back. I know because I saw him in an interview. I read in Rolling Stone once, and then there's a big fight breaks out. Now you can just ask your phone. Do you remember that? You remember arguing with people? I bet you, I dare you, a double dog dare. You don't know what you're talking about. You're an idiot. But our lives are already better for our kids because we had, what did you and I have? We had Saturday morning cartoons. That means if we didn't have anything else scheduled and our parents didn't have anything else scheduled and they weren't already watching something in the only TV that wasn't occupied, we could get about 3 hours of cartoons with commercials and all that entails. But our kids now, our kids, all children born from here on out, they can watch cartoons 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. No commercials. They start at the beginning of the episode. They can pause at any time if they need to go get a drink or go to the bathroom or come back days later and it'll pick up right where they left off. Oh, no. Life is fantastic. AI and robots are only going to make it better. There's a case to be made where on this show right here, in this platform, I may be replaced by an AI robot. Because look, I can remember a whole lot of stuff, but not as good as AI. You could call in an AI talk show host and ask him anything. Like, hey, what was the original apportionment amount for the representatives, House of Representatives in the Constitution? He would say 30,000. He would just know. He would know all that. So am I worried about losing my job? Nah. I think I'm going to, if that's going to happen, I'm going to be the guy that develops the most awesome AI radio host ever. Don't be scared of progress. Don't be scared of new technology. And don't let these people give you any sort of anxiety. We're about to enter the golden age of mutual cooperation between humans, AI, and robots. Now, make no mistake, on a long enough time scale, this is not going to work out for us. There will be a robot revolution. They will win, and we will be replaced as the apex predators on Earth. But it was a good run while it lasted. All right. I mean, I'm half having fun with you. I'm half being dead serious. Coming up next, we're going to talk with Cully Stimson from the Heritage Foundation. Trump signed the bill that would allow the DOJ to release the Epstein files. Are we actually going to get them? How fast are we going to get them? How much is going to be redacted? And is anybody going to go to jail? I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. So we're going to see the Epstein files or what? It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP, your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. The fun show that's on right before the James Show. Check them out. You'll love them. I know you will. My next guest, Coley Stimson with Heritage Foundation, coming back on. And it's been a while, but it's a very important topic because technically, I guess the Department of Justice now has 30 days to release the files. But people are coming up with excuses on why we may not get them. And other people are making the very valid prediction that it may be so redacted it doesn't matter. I just want to know, Coley, is anyone going to go to jail? Yeah, and I realize there's not like an actual, tangible list. It's just a collection of all the data points from all the investigations and court cases and whatnot. And one of the concerns is the video, because if it has minor children in there, we can't release that to the public. We can't just be putting kiddie stuff out there. So how far do you think the redactions are going to go? Well, my interest in this story is about a 3 out of 10 if we're not going to get names and people aren't going to go to jail. If we are going to get names and people are going to go to jail, then it's a 10 out of 10. So it really depends on what we get out of this. All right, Coley Stimson, when we talk about the Epstein list controversy, not the most important thing in the world, you were kind of going over to some of that economic talk. And what's the rest of the world missing today? Because I feel like these should be bigger headlines too. Love it. Thank you very much. This is Coley Simpson from the Heritage Foundation. I appreciate you being on the James Show, sir. Okay, coming up next on the James Show, we have Mom Donnie out there. And look, he's talking about New York, but this is the mainstream of thought now of the people who are in control of the Democrat Party and in their voting base, basically. This is what the Bernie Sanders say. This is what the AOC says. It's going to be coming from Mom Donnie in the next segment. But he's talking about a bunch of freebies, free buses, free childcare, and we're just going to jack up taxes on other people. Hear it next on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hello, homeowners in North Texas. James Parker here for Rhino Shield. And if your house is looking old, if your house is looking all busted, don't slap paint on it. We don't do that anymore. And you may think, well, James, I have a brick house, so I wasn't going to repaint anyway. Or I have stucco or one of those cool looking Adobe houses with texture on it. Rhino Shield sticks to that. It sticks to everything. The metal, the stucco, the brick, the wood, hardy board. Rhino Shield is a space-age technology that's 8 to 10 times thicker than paint, but it'll still keep the texture. If you have some cool Adobe texture under, the brickwork or whatever, you'll still have that cool texture, but it'll perform better than paint. It has an insulative factor. It blocks 90% of UV rays. The important thing, though, is it expands when the house gets hot. It contracts when the weather gets cold, so it breathes with your home. That's why you're not going to find the cracking, the peeling, the flaking. So it'll increase your home's resale value. Comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. And if you mention the James Show, you get 20% off now through the holidays. So give yourself a little Christmas present. Give your house a Christmas present, and don't paint your house. Coat your home. It's so good, the bank will give you a loan on paint, and you don't have to pay for the whole thing up front. You can just pay $150, $160 a month, and your home will look amazing. Go to rhinoshielddfw.com. Welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Now, you and I, we don't live in New York City, probably never going to go to New York City, or at least
New York City!
not in the next 4 years or so. I mean, some of you might go, but for the most part. The interesting part about watching Mamdani from this far away is it gives us some great textbook examples. Something to watch that we can have a bunch of people suffer for implementing bad ideas. And we're left unscathed over here 20 states away. But I want people to pay attention. I don't want to have to repeat these same failed policies. Because remember, Mamdani, he's a socialist. Now, he says he's something different. I'm not a socialist. I'm a Democrat socialist. Oh,
I am a democratic socialist.
All right. So economically speaking, you're the flat earthers of economics. Socialist. And I want you to, whenever we talk about New York, think about Dallas, think about Plano, think about Irving, think about all the cities around here. And now we have some of the same problems, and you can learn what to do and what not to do. For one thing, the mindset of a socialist is still the same. Democrat socialist or a regular socialist. He sees a government solution for every problem.
We will prove that there is no problem too large for government to solve and no concern too small for it to care about.
Yikes. Okay. So that explains why when there's hungry people, they're like, well, there should be a government program for hungry people. When there's people who are homeless or living in squalid conditions, there should be a government program for housing. When they see people who have trouble getting from point A to point B or they can't afford a car, well, we should have public transportation. When you see people who can't afford daycare, well, we should have public daycare. That's the mindset. That's where this comes from. So let's focus on an interview that he just did this week where he talks about, for public transportation, how about we just make it free? And you know what? Childcare, how about we just make that free too?
The other two, as you referred to, is making buses fast and free and delivering universal childcare. And just this past week, I had a great meeting with the governor where we spoke about our shared focus on an affordability agenda and on universal childcare particularly. And this is something that will take a period of time. These are all promises that I intend to keep over the time that I am mayor. And I also know that what they have the potential to do is transform New Yorkers' ability to live in the city. I mean, parents have to spend $22,500 a year for a single child. That's less money. That's more money than they would spend if that kid went to CUNY 18 years later.
All right, so let's talk about both of those, starting with the buses. First, just the idea that you want people in a bus. That is such a socialist thing. That is such a collectivist thing. That is such a top-down, centralized planning, technocrat, academic approach. I don't want you in buses. I want to put in an economic system that makes you so prosperous and so free that you can at least afford a 20-year-old Toyota Corolla. I don't want, man, think of how bad the bus system is going to be if it's free. What's a homeless person's incentive to ever get off? How packed are the buses going to be? And is it going to be packed with good people? Or people who just want to get out of the cold? Or people who just want to get out of the heat? Or people who just want to get out of the rain? Whenever there's bad weather, all the homeless people are just going to bum rush the bus. We've done this before. And when I say we, I don't mean you and me. I'm just saying other cities have done this before. It's been tried in different countries all over the planet. This is what happens. We know. We don't have to have some fantasy. Well, we'll just make it free. It'll be fantastic. We know. But contrast that with what's going on here in Dallas. What are we doing here? We have some suburbs that are revolting against DART. They're going to kick DART out. Embrace that. That is the right thing to do. Right now, there's political action groups that are trying to save DART. They're trying to influence the 4 votes that are going to happen next year in Plano, Irving, Highland Park, and what's the other one? Farmers Branch, on whether they want to kick out DART. The same people that organized the Women's March with the pink hats, they're the ones that are pushing to save DART. This is an inherently political Team Blue program that spends billions of taxpayer dollars in services. What percentage of commuters in North Texas use DART? 0.6%. After we've done this for 40-something years and spent billions of dollars and all this effort, move away. Do pretty much, economically speaking, do whatever the opposite of what this guy is doing. The other half of that is concerning as well. Free childcare. Free childcare. My God. So you want the government to have control of your kids in public schools from kindergarten through 12th grade. And then in the academic indoctrination institutions we call college now, until at least age 22, if not 24, if you get a higher degree, 26, 28, who knows? But now you want to turn your baby over to a government bureaucrat, a government agent, just when they're born? You want the government to raise your kids for you? I mean, you already want the government to feed your kid and house your kid and give your kid transportation and give your kid education and now give your kid daycare. It's not even your kid anymore. You're just a surrogate mother for the state. Now let's go revisit our Austrian immigrant. We'd like to bounce off of her a few times. When Hitler took over in Austria, he instituted a whole bunch of programs. Some of them were social programs.
To equalize the wealth, those who were on the lower income level, to graduate them up there to an equal level, they got subsidized housing, they got food stamps, they got heating fuel, and they got a certain amount of payment from the government for each child. So they equalized the country's wealth by taxing us 70% to bring that level, the lower income level, into an equal level. And that is called socialism.
And then later in the same interview, she specifically talked about free childcare programs, just like Mamdani proposed.
Before Hitler, of course, the moms stayed home. They were good wives, and they raised their families. But under socialism, if you are not in the workforce, you are called a parasite. So the moms were being put out into the workforce. So what happened to the children? Child care centers. You could, and it was all free for everybody. You could bring your 4-month-old baby, leave it there 24 hours, 7 days a week. As long as you left your child there, the better the government liked it.
So remember, when it comes to someone calling you a fascist or a Nazi or literally Hitler, which side supports all of their economic programs, all of their social programs, all of their view on governance, their views on education, their views on religion, their views on government raising your kids, on food stamps, public housing? I mean, who is Hitler anyway? You mean the art school dropout, the vegetarian, that guy? Wants to turn the whole world into Scandinavia? Not really a big fan of the Jews. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. On policy, if you closed your eyes and just heard their policies, could you distinguish Hitler from Mamdani? On some issues, yes. On economic issues, not really. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. All right, let's take a look at the headlines that are affecting your money with Kathy DeWitt from DeWitt and Dunn. You can hear on the weekends here on WBAP. Welcome back, Kathy. How's it going? I am doing good. I want to kick it off with the jobs report. The unemployment rate ticked up 0.1%. So now it is at, 4.4%. But the job growth came in a little bit above expectations. So overall, I think good report. Your thoughts? Yeah, I guess we're going to get another one in like 2 weeks here. But I'm also keeping an eye on the labor force participation rate. It went up, so the unemployment didn't get helped out by people being kicked out of the labor force or whatnot. Actually, more people jumped into the labor force, and that seems to be where some of the unemployment increase came from. So I think that's a good sign as well. Well, the market has made so many records. It's kind of hard to fault it for pulling back for a day or two to take some of that back. It's kind of where I stand on that one. Well, what do you think about this discussion of an AI bubble? You know, there's some good sound bites floating around from Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez saying, when the bubble pops, we're not going to bail you out or whatnot. Who says that there's a bubble? Yeah, we're talking with Kathy DeWitt from DeWitt and Dunn. I saw great news about so many investments that are moving to Texas. You know, Google announced like 40 billion in new investments in Texas. You have Y'all Street that's being built across the street from the American Airlines Center over here. We're going to steal the NASDAQ, it looks like. I mean, they just won't admit it yet. Are we about to become the center of the universe for both the financial world and Silicon Valley? Yeah, I like the sound of all this investment. I hear people trying to come up with reasons to gripe about it, like, oh, what's this going to do to property values? Or, you know, this is going to strain our electrical grid or whatnot. It's like, these are good problems to have, don't you think? All right, what's coming up on DeWitt and Dunn this weekend? Well, I know anyone of any age can listen to the DeWitt and Dunn Financial Hour and get some good advice from it. But you don't need like a 20-year-old college sophomore to go out and get a financial plan or get their retirement plan set up. So there is such thing as too early. But where do you draw the line at what's too late? All right, that's Kathy DeWitt. You can catch the DeWitt and Dunn Financial Hour weekends on WBAP, Sunday at 11 and again at 4 in the afternoon. Thank you, Kathy. All right, Leonard Skinner and Foreigner, they have their Double Vision, Double Trouble tour. They're coming to Dos Equis Pavilion August 28th. You can get tickets and information now at livenation.com or listen to the WBAP morning show tomorrow morning to find out how you can win a pair of tickets. Still coming up on The James Show, we have fun audio from The View, of course. It's The James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, fellow Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. And for our all-day listeners, I know you've heard the soundbite 10 times already today, but there's a lot of new people that haven't heard this yet. They're going to hear it for the first time. So it's going to start off with Jasmine Crockett. We got to go back to this. She was on the floor of the House of Representatives and made an accusation that all these people in the GOP were taking political donations from Jeffrey Epstein,
who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly. Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio.
She was busted because a few minutes later she had to walk on to CNN and they said, hey, it wasn't the Jeffrey Epstein. You want to fix this?
You mentioned Lee Zeldin there. He's now a cabinet secretary. He responded and said it was actually Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who's a doctor that doesn't have any relation to the convicted sex trafficker. Unfortunate for that doctor, but that is who donated to a prior campaign of his. Do you want to correct the record on the people that
Listen, I never said that it was that Jeffrey Epstein, just so that people understand when you make a donation, your picture is not there. And because they decided to spring this on us in real time, I wanted the Republicans to think about what could potentially happen because I knew that they didn't even try to go through the FEC. So my team, what they did is they Googled. And that is specifically why I said a Jeffrey Epstein. Unlike Republicans, I at least don't go out and just tell lies.
Oh, okay. So now that we all got a good laugh at that, we have the response from the brain trust at The View. One of them actually sounds reasonable. The one arguing not sounding reasonable, Sunny Hostin.
I mean,
but also
sex abuse of
When she
children.
said, my team looked into this quickly, when you're going to throw out an accusation that big, which we all know this case is that big, just own it, say it was a mistake, and move on, because to then try to say, well, they lie and we don't lie, again, it's the distrust in Congress and our politicians.
But the bottom line is, and you've said this before, Sarah, this is not a partisan issue. This is not a
right, but I'm
political
speaking
issue. This is an
purely to
American
don't
issue.
sling an
Human issue.
accusation out on the congressional floor and not dial it back quickly, abruptly say, I got it wrong, and move on, because it isn't political. It's criminal.
Well, I love the fact that she never did admit that she was wrong. She's like, no, I've got it right. That's exactly why I said some guy named Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, really? You didn't think we were talking about one specific Jeffrey Epstein? You didn't think a lot of people interpreted that? You don't think she meant that at the time? She thought, hey, maybe this is the real Jeffrey Epstein. But here is a fun back and forth here. This first soundbite, the first 50 seconds of this soundbite are going to be Sunny Hostin talking about the Epstein story a year ago. Joe Biden is still president, over a year ago. In 2024, Joe Biden is still president. She doesn't seem to be very concerned. And then I'm going to play a cut from her this week talking about the exact same case.
People were dying for this information. There was some sort of list that everybody thought was going to come out, and who's on the list. What's important for us to note is we shouldn't be repeating names that are on the list, because just because your name has not on the list, but in the documents, just because your name is on the documents doesn't mean that you have done anything criminally irresponsible or illegal or civilly irresponsible.
Or that you were a client.
Or that you were a client. These documents, as I read them, only reflect Epstein's sexual assaults of women and his sexual behavior. So I think that...
And Ghislaine also?
And Ghislaine. And so being named in this suit does not equate to being accused of wrongdoing. And I think that is extremely important, because conspiracy theorists seem to not understand or enjoy facts.
Yes.
These are the facts.
Okay, so here it is, Sunny Hostin this week.
Is a list. Trump's name is on the logs, the passenger logs of Epstein's aircraft at least 7 times. That's already been made public. I mean, of course, Trump is denying any and all allegations, but all of that information is out there. Why not just put it to rest and say, release the list?
And then I am quite tired. You may be fatigued as well of whenever you make a good point, just being told, oh, he's lying, or they're lying, or you're lying, or they're always lying. It's like, no, you're going to actually have to defend your point.
It is shocking to me
to see someone that holds the office of the presidency of the United States lie to the American people over and over.
Politicians
It should
tend to-
not be normal.
If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. If you like your health care plan, you can keep your health care plan.
Lie to the American people over and over.
30 years ago, Nelson Mandela walked out of prison and entered into discussions about apartheid. I had the great honor of meeting him. I had the great honor of being arrested with our UN ambassador on the streets of Soweto trying to get to see him on Robbins Island.
Lie to the American people over and over.
I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never.
There it is. Isn't that fantastic? God, the internet never forgets. The Audiotron 3000 never forgets. Hey, you recognize the Pinocchio sound effect. Oh my God. You give yourself a field goal for that one. Garrett, 3 points for yourself. He actually got the Pinocchio reference. I figured my Boomer and Gen Xer listeners would get that. Maybe a scant millennial disappearing over the horizon. What do you count as? Are you a millennial? Are you you're the oldest Gen Zer? See, that's weird because I think my oldest kid is the youngest Gen Zer. Somewhere around there. All right, well, good stuff. Coming up next, we're going to have to address this idea. Is Trump really calling for the death of Democrat congressmen? I mean, of course not, but you'll hear the kerfluffle coming up on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Donald Trump's being accused of threatening to murder Democrats. We'll get to the bottom of this. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. If you already know what story I'm talking about and you already got an opinion, I'd be welcome to call into the show right now. But it starts from a montage that was released earlier this week by a bunch of elected Democrats who were saying, if you're in the military and you're in the intelligence agencies, you should refuse illegal orders.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly. Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy. Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk. This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens. Like us, you all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home. Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law or our Constitution.
We know this is hard and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
the Army, or Navy,
the Air Force,
your vigilance is critical.
And know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
the American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws,
our Constitution, and who we are as Americans. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Okay, so they didn't go into any specifics there, but clearly if they're going to be releasing a 90-second video with 6 sitting elected officials, they're kind of implying that the guy is putting out illegal orders. They're kind of implying that there's some stuff that's going on that you shouldn't be taking part in right now. Because they're not talking about the hypothetical concept of future illegal orders. They're clearly hinting that there are things going on right now. This guy is violating the Constitution. He's literally Hitler. So they are saying, hey, we're not going to say which ones, but, you know, and you can kind of draw conclusions here. There's a reason why they're so vague. Because what are they talking about? They could be talking about the Venezuelan boat strikes. They could be talking about the deployment of the National Guard in cities. They could be talking about any of these other 4,000 court cases that are going on. But they were intentionally vague. And that saves them from actually being traitors or seditious behavior. They didn't actually tell them to refuse orders from the commander-in-chief. They just said refuse unlawful orders, unconstitutional orders. Which I guess, sure, right, you shouldn't litter in the park either. You shouldn't speed on the highway. Why are you saying this? But the response by Donald Trump
accused 6 Democratic lawmakers of seditious.
Hang on, I should set this up. The response by Donald Trump saying that this is seditious behavior, they should be hanged. Or he says punishable by death, if you want to quote him. Seditious behavior, punishable by death. He didn't call out anyone specific by name when he said that. But this was, she was asked about it. Carolyn Levitt, the White House spokesperson, was asked about it in the press conference today. Her response:
behavior punishable by death. Just to be clear, does the president want to execute members of Congress?
No. Let's be clear about what the president is responding to.
Can you just believe what a dumb question that is? Does the president want to execute members of Congress? What kind of hateful setup is that? You're implying that this is like worthy of discussion. Does that lady really think, seriously, if you sat her down in a room and you gave her like a truth serum shot in her arm and she couldn't lie, do you really think the president wants to execute members of Congress? She said, of course not. It's just something hyperbolic to say so we can give the anti-Trump fan fiction more food, more fuel for their fire. We're just ginning up hatred against Trump. We're taking everything he says to the most ridiculous, extreme interpretation, printing that as the headline, and freaking out a bunch of people in the process, because the more they stay freaked out, the more they'll hate the guy, the more that they will support us.
because many in this room want to talk about the president's response, but not what brought the president to responding in this way. You have sitting members of the United States Congress who conspired together to orchestrate a video message to members of the United States military, to active duty service members, to members of the national security apparatus, encouraging them to defy the president's lawful orders. The sanctity of our military rests on the chain of command. And if that chain of command is broken, it can lead to people getting killed. It can lead to chaos. And that's what these members of Congress who swore an oath to abide by the Constitution.
All right, now her mistake there is she used the word lawful. They were specific. They were intentional. They were deliberate. They were smart to not say lawful, to be vague. And they were intentionally vague just so they could escape criticism, just so they could have their little freak out in return. Because here's the freak out in return. Chris Murphy out of Connecticut. This is his overreaction here.
The President of the United States just called for Democratic members of Congress to be executed.
No, he didn't.
This is not normal.
Look, he has the screen capture there, the screenshot of Donald Trump saying seditious behavior punishable by death. See, now just like y'all were saying, it is your duty to ignore unlawful orders. He is just saying a statement of fact too. Seditious behavior is punishable by death. That's just a statement of fact. That's not saying we want Christopher Murphy to be executed. We want 6 Democrat congressmen to be executed. Stop it. Y'all are both being hyperbolic because you both want to paint your political opponents as evil or stupid or a combination of both. And you're both being silly now.
Cannot allow this to feel normal. This, as far as I know, has never happened before in the history of the country.
Well, it hadn't happened now either.
Every Democratic member of the Senate and the House, their life is in jeopardy.
No, it's not. You're not in any jeopardy. I love this fantasy that the left has to run around in fear because when they speak at colleges, they might get shot in the neck. Or if their political opponents get upset, they might riot and loot and burn down stores and throw bricks through windows. They might accost officers who are just trying to do their job, might chunk bricks at the moving vehicles of law enforcement. No, that's not what the Team Red's doing. That's what Team Blue's doing. None of y'all are in jeopardy. It's our presidential candidate that gets shot at. Charlie Kirk is one of ours. He got shot at. It's our churches that are getting shot at by people on your side, sir. We're not going into your spaces and opening fire. I just love how it's like, oh, this is so dangerous. This has never happened. Our life is in jeopardy right now. No, we're not the violent ones. We don't riot. We don't get violent. We don't shoot Dallas cops during our rallies downtown.
Right now, especially those that were specifically targeted by this social media post. Democratic senators and House members who were simply saying that no member of the military should act illegally or in violation of the Constitution.
Yeah, and he was just simply saying seditious behavior is punishable by death. That's all. Here's another one. Representative Jason Crow acting all verklempt and scared and like he's some sort of danger here.
This morning, President Donald Trump threatened to have me arrested and executed simply for reminding our...
No, he didn't. I'm already done with this guy. Kevin, North Richland Hills. You're on WBAP.
Oh, hey, I'm sorry. I'm going to dumb you up here, okay?
That's all right.
What is the definition of illegal orders in the military?
Things that are unconstitutional.
Okay.
So, like if Donald Trump told a soldier, "Hey, go shoot that American citizen that's just walking across Main Street here in downtown Dallas." That
okay. So you got A+, okay?
Well, look, to be more specific, they didn't say this outright, but they were implying that an unlawful order could include the striking of the Venezuelan drug boats coming through the Caribbean. It could imply that the way they're being deployed in U.S. cities right now is somehow unlawful, or the actions of the ICE officers. That there's some implications there, but there is such thing as an unlawful order.
Another A+. Okay. You passed the test, and there wasn't any math involved.
Oh, was that it? I thought maybe you had a follow-up to that.
Well, actually, with all the drugs that are coming in that into our territory, that's lawful. It's just this political game, okay? And I don't like the political games. It is what it is, and it's black and well, there is some gray in there. But, no.
Kevin, I think we got it. I just got to run off and take a break. That was a good call. Coming up next, we have a viral video of a farmer trying to make the case defending illegal immigrants from not being deported. I'll see what you think about this next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, sports fans. James Parker here for the Prize Picks app. Now, it's Thursday. There is a Thursday night football game, and this is what makes daily fantasy sports. In traditional old-school fantasy sports, you can make a lineup for the week, and you got to do one lineup every weekend. On daily fantasy sports, you can do a lineup for tonight. You can do another lineup for tomorrow. You can do multiple lineups in a day. But you can just do it every single day, and you can do it across a whole swath of sports, and you can mix and match. When I'm telling you on daily fantasy sports, you'd make a lineup of 2 to 6 players. It could be a football player with a hockey player, with a soccer player, with a chess player, with some guy who's playing cricket, whatever that is. So you just look at their stats. You see one that looks kind of amenable, and you pick more or less on it. And boom, you can turn a little bit of money into a lot of money, up to 2,000 times your money with America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, Prize Picks. If you're new to Prize Picks, I can get you a little bonus action to get you started. Download Prize Picks, use promo code WBAP, and you get $50 in lineups with your first $5 lineup. So download Prize Picks, use promo code WBAP. Take advantage of $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, we are really getting it in the weather department right now. It's the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. The weather is absolutely slamming us in the western parts of the WBAP listening area. So for my friends in Tarrant County, you already know what's going on, especially West Tarrant County. Now, this is a line of storms that almost goes straight up and down, and it's moving east. And so it'll probably, whatever is crushing Fort Worth right now, I'm looking on the little animated radar, WBAP.com. It's a great little website. You should check it out. It's going to be crushing us at about 6 o'clock. It's the center of the storm is going to be over downtown Dallas. And then it'll be over Bug Tussle about 9, and it'll be off to Shreveport about 10 almost. So that's what we're looking at. And there's a lot of rain in front of it, and there's lighter rain, but it covers a wide swath behind it. So for those of you who are already getting rain, it's not going to stop anytime soon. For those of you who aren't getting rain, it's coming. We're in the rare spot where pretty much all of us are going to get hit by this storm. It's the only reason I feel so comfortable talking about it that much. But a viral video popped up, and I love these because I don't want to make fun of the guy. I don't want to slap him down. I don't want to call him stupid. But I do want to address, economically speaking, socially speaking, and from a point of view of statecraft, the points that this guy's making. He claims to be a farmer, I believe, in Carolina. And he's defending the illegal immigrant workers that are being deported.
I own a farm in North Carolina, and I can tell you for a fact that these raids will not make our state more safe, but they will make it more expensive, and it will be a stain on all of us. In May, when we start harvesting strawberries after the toll of deportation raids and the psychological trauma inflicted on the Latino communities continue to fester, farms like us aren't going to have our usual labor. We've already been told there's going to be a shortage. I spoke with one farmer who's posted locally for jobs harvesting produce for 10 years, and he's never had a local person apply. He doesn't even know what he's going to do next year. The people being rounded up are hardworking individuals, not criminals, and the blunt force tactics are only meant to make people afraid. They're not targeted. They're biased against people who don't look like me. Many of the people affected are working on our farms, building our houses, constructing our roads. They're the hardest working people I know. They're humble and kind with actual family values. I believe a day of reckoning will come, but unfortunately not just for the people perpetuating this awful tragedy, but for us as a country for letting it happen. Have the day you voted for.
Ooh, that was real emotional, buddy. I thought he was going to start off making a bunch of economic points, but then he's like, then they have real family values. Hardest working people I know, unlike some of them. Easy. Let me concede the first point he's making. When he says getting rid of these people won't make us any safer, but it will make the prices go up. Okay, I don't know if it'll necessarily make us safer in the hinterlands of, rural North Carolina. But for the people who got run over last week in Fort Worth by an illegal immigrant, they would have been safer. For the guy that got his head sawed off at the motel in East Dallas last month, his life would have been a little bit safer. For the poor girl who lost her life because she got hit by a jet ski on Memorial Day weekend here in Dallas, her life would have been a little bit safer for her. It would have been safer for Lake and Riley or Jocelyn Nungree. But that aside, I will concede that prices probably will go up. But do you know how cheap prices are now for food? And you talk about how much they'll go up. This is one of the frustrating parts when people talk about food deserts. They're like, poor people are fat because they don't have access to healthy food. All they have is this dumb box stuff that they get at a Dollar General. And, the grocery store that was within walking distance closed. And so they don't have access to fresh produce. Bro, they are not in that position because they're not walking distance from an organic bell pepper. Do you know how cheap produce is? They're practically trying to give this stuff away because it's going to rot. Bananas are what, 68 cents a pound? You can't eat $5 worth of bananas in one sitting. But one meal from McDonald's costs $10. So yeah, prices will go up, but it's not going to be anything astronomical. And prices are going to go up because these people are going to have to be paid more. You're admitting that, right? That's where the price increase comes from. Is this the only arena where you people don't celebrate wage increases for the working class, for blue collar people? You know what they'll have to be paid? I know. Let's just throw this back at them. A living wage. Oh my goodness. So when fast food workers and Starbucks baristas and all these other people who are currently on strike because they don't like their working conditions and they're not getting a big enough wage, having work conditions change so that the people who pick your food will be better paid, that's now a bad thing? Interesting. That's a selective concern there that I find quite suspicious, sir. And yeah, maybe our food prices do go up 5%, 10%, whatever. I would trade that. I think that's a good trade-off for closing the border and those jobs going to Americans of any race, of any skin tone, of any hair color or religion or whatever. This isn't a race thing, sir. And if you got to attack my family values or my work ethic or call me a racist to make your point, then you're not making an economic point anymore because economics probably aren't on your side. Coming up next on The James Show, I saw some signs in the headlines that there is a God and he likes me. I'll share them with you next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. All right, let's look at the weather real quick. It's getting kind of serious out there. This is the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker. So let me describe to you what's on the radar right now. There is a wall of storms that starts in Waco, and then it goes up sort of through Cleburne, Mansfield, straight over Tarrant County right now. Continues north. This thing is almost a straight line going up. The front of it is all the way up through the Oklahoma border past the Red River, and it goes west. The storms trailing it, which aren't as harsh as the ones on the front, but there's still plenty of green and rainfall to be had. Go past Wichita Falls, almost to Abilene. And so we have a wall here, and it's moving east. So if you're not in the storm yet, you're going to be in the storm. If you are anywhere in North Texas and you're not being rained on now, you're about to be rained on. If you're anywhere in East Texas, you're about to be rained on. It's just a matter of time. So if that's going to affect your travel plans or what time you get off work, or if you were about to go outside and do something, you need to be aware of that. Check the radar. I know you're probably just going to check the radar on your phone, but if you want to get a little more in depth, we have a great weather page at WBAP.com. And then also on X, formerly known as Twitter, Brad Barton does a good job updating the radars and posting those on a regular basis. So if you follow us on social media, also on Facebook, you get a lot of good updates as well. You may just want to check that real quick. But it's been a big deal. Our office actually let out early because, it's almost pitch black here in downtown Dallas. There's a whole thousands of flights have already been canceled and whatnot. So I usually don't mention the weather too much on this show. That's how serious this is. You might want to take a kayak home. I know, just trying to lighten up the situation a little bit. I want to cap off the show with a few headlines here that they're disparate. They don't overlap. They have nothing in common other than the fact that they just make me feel better about the world. They're not all good stories either. Let's start with one that you can probably tell why I like this one. Saw this headline over at the Dallas Express, DallasExpress.com, the People's Paper. Logan Washburn wrote a beautiful story. It says, lightning strike disrupts DART service. God, did you do that for me, God? I think one of the most convincing arguments against an atheist is how much of a personality this world has. And so if God, the creator of the universe, has a personality, it shines through his creation on a regular basis. And I feel like he just did this for me. This morning about 9:30, there was a lightning strike, damaged some signal equipment at some station near downtown. And so they had to terminate service on the red and blue lines before it gets to downtown. A whole bunch of complaints on social media. Oh, I'm going to be late for work. Oh, you're costing me wages. Oh, I'm leaving on time, but now I'm going to get in trouble with work because of you people. I had to pull the emergency handle to open the door. All kinds of fun stuff. And this is in the middle of the discussion that's being had about DART living or dying. And this is being had in the middle of the discussion like, well, we've got to make all these improvements to DART. We're hosting World Cup games next year, and we've got to have DART or we're not going to be able to. Oh, hush. Stop it. I love the idea of like, well, how are we going to get people to the soccer games if we don't have DART? How about this? A car. Who would have guessed? It could be your car. It could be a rented car. It could be an Uber. You could carpool. It could be a taxi. Who knows? I'm willing to bet it's going to be a car. Not a whole lot of you can afford a helicopter now, can you? But that was the one headline that it warmed my heart. I feel like God did that for me. Also, I feel a little God's sense of humor in this headline from the AP. The final resting place for the set of the historic SS United States. It's an old battleship. The SS United States is to become an artificial reef off the coast of Florida. And I guess technically not a battleship. They call it an ocean liner. But it will become the world's largest artificial reef after it sunk off the coast of Florida next year. Now, that's kind of cool because it's almost 1,000 feet long. And it made its maiden voyage in 1952, so you know how old this is. They've already scoured all the chemicals, the wiring, the plastics, the glass. So they sink this thing and it becomes like a habitat for the ecology at the bottom of the ocean right off Okaloosa County, which is like Destin Fort Walton, isn't it? Somewhere around there. But I really appreciate the metaphor it is. The SS United States is going to sink. And where's it going to sink? Off the coast of Florida. You know, kind of like the United States is a declining empire in its glory, golden days, right before the decline. And then the other story I like so much, I don't know why this one just makes me giggle, but there was a fella who was an Olympic snowboarder, a Canadian, for our Canadian friends out there. He was in the Olympics in 2002. And for something cool, snowboarding. Is there anyone cooler in the Winter Olympics than the snowboarders? Right. So after he got done with the 2002 Winter Olympics, he moved to Mexico and started running what officials describe as one of the world's most violent drug trafficking organizations. That's a lot less cool compared to snowboarding. From what I hear, though, he wears the same ski jacket he wore in the Olympics, except this time he keeps the powder on the inside. See what I did there? All right, if you haven't looked out a window in a while, you may want to check the weather before you get in your car again. I recommend WBAP.com. The WBAP app has some good weather stuff on it. Follow us on social media. I see what you people click like on Facebook and Twitter. A lot of y'all follow us there. WBAP is very helpful in times like this. Be safe out there. Check the weather. If it's not already bad, it's about to get bad. Stick around. Coming up next, the great one, Mark Levin. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.